Okay, everybody. Welcome to the start of health. Don't get too excited. I know you were all so happy to start this. We only have a couple weeks left of school, so unfortunately, we can't cover all the stuff we were going to talk about, but we are still going to hit on some of the major important chunks. Anything you miss, you're going to get seventh grade and eighth grade. There's a lot of overlap. So, first things first, obey me. First things first, there are rules for this lesson. They're some of the same rules that we have in class, but they're especially important to follow now because this is kind of a touchy subject for a lot of people. First rule is be respectful, not just of our class time and of me, but of the people in your class and the people you might be interacting with when you're posting comments and asking questions. Be respectful of other people. Try and be mature. That doesn't mean you can't laugh or giggle when something's funny. That means don't go out of your way to make a dumb joke. Try and handle this like you're a real person and not just a little meme. So, third, it's okay if you feel uncomfortable about something. I'm not expecting you to be able to handle this without something making you uncomfortable. That's just how life works, especially a subject like health, which we're going to talk about some things that can very easily make some people uncomfortable for a variety of reasons. However, it is not okay for you to make somebody else uncomfortable on purpose. That means that if you know something gets to somebody, or if somebody's sensitive about something, or if somebody asks a question, you're not going to make fun of them for it. You are not going to go out of your way to make them feel bad. You might say something that accidentally makes somebody uncomfortable, and that's fine. I expect you to apologize for it and to try and avoid doing it again, but you do not have the right to make somebody else feel bad. Not in my classroom. So, what we're going to be talking about today, you're going to see. But I've been asked this question a couple times now. Miss Orange, do we have to do this? I don't want to talk about that. Yes, we do need to talk about this because it's important. Even if some of what we talk about doesn't directly matter to you, it does matter to the people you know, people you care about. Plus, you don't want to end up looking like an idiot when you're a grown up and don't know how babies work. One example that I've been able to find from the beautiful, lovely internet, this person made a post, I think texting their friend, saying, been waiting over an hour in the antenatal clinic. That means where people go when they're pregnant, ready, or waiting to have their baby. The couple next to me are debating whether they carry girl genes or boy genes and trying to work out based on what gender the children have been in other parts of their family and if they are a couple that could be able to produce both sexes. Not sure if I should intervene. The reason this is dumb, in case some of you don't know yet, because again, this isn't something you've learned yet, any male and female pairing can make a boy or girl baby. Any set of biological parents can have any biological child. This is really, really dumb because it's basic biology. I want to save you from being those very, very dumb people that don't know basic things. So, yes, we do have to talk about this. Deal with it. We are going to be talking about gender today. So, gender is kind of a tricky subject because there's lots of argument from lots of different people about what it means, um, talking about what gender is, how does it work. I pose a question to you. Have you ever been told to do something because you were a boy or a girl? And have you ever been told that you could not do something because you were a boy or a girl? It's unfortunately common. So this is one of your assignments for today. There's a Google form in the classroom that asks you these questions. Please fill that out at some point. And look at this cute little baby picture of a child in a dress. Is it a boy? Is it a girl? Who knows? We'll talk about that later. So, the next thing we are going to look at is little boys and little girls get told things about what it means to be a boy and a girl. And you may not think that, oh, nobody ever told me what it means to be a boy. They don't necessarily have to say it out loud by being a boy means this and this and this and this. We get messages from the world and the people around us about what's expected of you if you're seen as a boy or seen as a girl. Little boys are often encouraged to play with action figures or cars or Nerf guns, and little girls are encouraged to play with dolls and pretend to cook and play house. Boys are expected to run around and roughhouse and play superheroes. Girls are expected to wear pink and be dainty and play princesses. If you look at TV or advertisements or music, there's lots of different messages that are shown to people of what does it mean in our society, the people who live where we live, what does it mean when people say the word boy and say the word girl? So there are some vocabulary words that we are going to be using. Some of them you may be familiar with, some of you may not have heard. That's totally okay. That's why we're doing this. The first one is biological sex. So when people talk about boy and girl, usually what they mean is biological sex. They're talking about what a person is physically. It's the biological combo of hormones, organs, genitals, and DNA. Hormones are chemicals in your body that help control things, like testosterone and estrogen, which are two of the big boy, girl, male, female hormones. Organs, like if you have a uterus, if you have testicles, things like that. Genitals are those reproductive organs. So that would be the things that let you have children. And then there's DNA, which is basically the blueprint, the code that built you. Every living thing has DNA, and it controls everything about you. Biological sex is physically what were you born as. Gender expression, on the other hand, is a way that a person shows their gender to the people around them. So gender and biological sex are different things. Biological sex is physically what body parts do you have. Gender expression is how do you show the people around you your gender in the way you act, in the way you dress, the way you talk. You notice Mulan here. On this side, the pink side, you've got traditionally female looking things. And on the other side here, the kind of greenish blue side, you have more traditionally male. So these are two different gender expressions. Now, some of you are probably thinking, Miss Ulrich, what is gender? You say it's different from biological sex, so what is it? Gender identity is how a person thinks about themselves. It's how you see yourself. So this is where it's going to get a little bit tricky, because if you see here, there's all these different words. Gender and biological sex use different words. When you're talking about biological sex, you're talking about male, female. When you're talking about gender, you're talking he, she. Now, you might think those are the same thing, but they're not really. Male and female are biological terms. It's the physical stuff of your body, male, female. Gender is when we say he or she. It's tricky, yes, I know, but that's the distinction between the two. Gender is how you see yourself. Do you see yourself as a boy? Do you see yourself as a girl? Do you see yourself as something in the middle? Gender identity is how you see yourself. Gender expression is how you show that to other people. If you see yourself as a girl, gender expression is how you show that feeling to other people, how you dress, how you act. Sexual orientation. I'm assuming most of you have heard this phrase before. It's pretty much everywhere. So sexual orientation is a person's romantic, emotional, and physical or sexual attraction to a person. This is things like being straight, being gay, being lesbian, being bi, being asexual. It is your physical, romantic, and emotional attraction to someone. You can see a whole bunch of different symbols down here. And there's a whole bunch of different categories for sexual orientation. This is LGBTQ stuff. So sexual orientation, this is a symbol for male, this is a symbol for female. You see there's all sorts of different combinations of ways that people can be attracted to others. Next, we have the word stereotype. I'm hoping that most of you have heard this word somewhere. And a stereotype is an assumption based on characteristics. So this is somebody looking at someone or something else and judging them, making judgments in their head about what that person must be like. So stereotypes would be things like girls wear pink and boys wear blue. When I was a kid, a big stereotype was anyone with glasses is a nerd. And another stereotype was anyone who's good at sports has to be dumb, which, not true. None of those things are true. Personally, I can't stand the color pink. If you look at this word right here, cisnormativity. Now that's one I'm pretty sure you haven't heard yet. Cisnormativity is the assumption that a person identifies with the sex or gender they were assigned at birth, or that having a cisgender gender identity is the norm, the normal thing. So cis, C-I-S, might be a thing you've heard, but just in case, this is someone who has the physical body parts and a gender identity that match. So somebody who is born male and thinks of themselves as a boy and are straight. Or somebody who has female biology, thinks of themselves as a girl, and is straight. Cisnormativity is the idea that everyone is the same and identifies exactly that same way. Hint, cisnormativity, not a good thing. Gender policing is something you may have run into. I can almost guarantee that at some point in your life, this is something that's happened to you. Gender policing is someone telling someone how they are supposed to act based on their sex or their gender. So this is when somebody says, you can't do that, you're a boy, or don't do that, you're a girl. Or you have to do this, you're a boy, or you have to do this, you're a girl. If you look at this picture right here with the stick figures, you may recognize some of these. These you can see them on bathroom signs. This one here is showing you how it's more accepted for girls to dress different ways than it is for boys to dress different ways. And if we look at this quote over here, by Madonna, who is a singer some of you might have heard about from your parents. This is a quote that says, "Girls can wear jeans and cut their hair short, wear shirts and boots, because it's okay to be a boy. But for a boy to look like a girl is degrading, because you think being a girl is degrading." And this is a very powerful quote because it talks about a huge issue that we run into in daily life. It's okay for a girl to do boyish things and to dress more like a boy than it is for a boy to dress or act more like a girl. Out in the world, people are more accepting of a girl doing boy things than of a boy doing girl things. And that is absolutely horrible. Because what that says is that it's more okay to be a boy than it is to be a girl. Because if a girl acts more like a boy, she's weird or she's tough or she's quirky. But if a boy acts more like a girl, he's strange. He's not what he's supposed to be. And this is horrifying to me because this is the kind of thing that leads to people hating other people for being who they are. Gender policing is just a truly nasty thing to do. This is someone telling somebody else that they can't be who they want to be because it doesn't match what they think that person is supposed to be like. I've known people who do or like things that aren't traditionally what they're supposed to like or to do. I've known boys whose favorite color is pink. My favorite color is blue. It's more acceptable for my favorite color to be blue than it is for a boy's favorite color to be pink for some reason. And that is just not okay. Gender policing and stereotypes are things that have caused lots, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. They've caused violence against groups of people. Around the world and around even our country, there are places where it's not safe for somebody to act outside of what people expect them to act like. When you hear about people being homosexual, people being gay, there's lots of people who accept it and say, yeah, it's totally normal, it's fine. But there's also people who think it's horrible, that it's unnatural. And those people who think it's a bad thing will flat out hurt those people. There are places in this world where it's illegal to be gay. There are places in this world where you can be killed for being gay, like flat out beaten to death. And the reason I'm telling you this is because we are incredibly lucky to live where we live. San Francisco is largely pretty accepting of this. There are still people who think it's not right, or there's still people who think it's a bad thing to be gay, or who think it's a bad thing to not be how others expect you to be. But you are far less likely to be in danger for it here. There are places in our country where people get bullied so badly, so atrociously badly, that they feel like they can't deal with it. Rates of self-harm and suicide amongst LGBTQ teenagers, teenagers who maybe aren't straight, or teenagers who maybe don't identify how people think they should identify, they get bullied and they deal with things that can flat out make them want to kill themselves because they hurt so badly from what other people tell them. And unfortunately, in our society, it's been normalized that gay is an insult. I haven't heard it quite so much this year, but last year that was one of the favorite insults in 6th grade. If you think something's weird, or if you don't like something, or if somebody just says something and you're making a joke about it, saying, oh man, that's gay, that right there is part of the problem. Because you're using the word gay to describe something that's bad. I'm really happy that I haven't really been hearing that much this year. But I want you to take that with you and think about, why is that normal? Why is it normal for that to be an insult for something? I've heard people drop, your mom's gay, as if it's the biggest, most horrific insult to end all insults. And that's just weird. Trying to take something that for many people is a part of who they are and using it as an insult against other people is just one of the reasons that humans are just not nice to each other in general. We can be really, really mean to each other. And one of the main reasons we do this unit, we talk about gender, is because as you guys grow up, you are going to have a say in how the world moves on. You are going to be able to contribute to how we treat each other. But it's really hard to help fix problems if you don't know about the problems, if you don't think about it. For some of you, this may have absolutely nothing to do with you. But I want you to think about, there might be someone in your family, someone you're friends with, someone you walk by in the hallways every day, that maybe they're not straight. Or maybe they don't really see themselves as a boy, or maybe they don't really see themselves as a girl, even though the people around them say, oh yeah, you're a girl. Maybe they don't feel like one. And maybe all they hear from other people about it is insults and negativity. And maybe you can be the one person they talk to that day that treats them normal, that doesn't make a big deal out of it and say, oh, that's weird, why are you like that? Maybe you can be the one nice thing that happens to that person. Because there are people who go their entire day without hearing one nice thing from the people around them. And that's really sad. And I want you to think about something. How many times a day when you're just walking around do you see girls wearing jeans and think absolutely nothing of it? A lot, I'm betting. But when we see someone we think of as a man or a boy wearing a dress or a skirt, we've been taught our whole lives that, oh, that's weird. But why? And so I challenge you to think about, why do you think about things the way you do? Is it your opinion, or is it just the opinion you've been taught? Take a second to think about me. Pretty much every single day I've ever seen you guys, I'm wearing jeans, right? Ever notice anything weird about the way I dress? No? Well, if I was standing in front of you right now, I would give you a hint by sticking my hands in my pockets. And the girls in class would get it. Because girls' pants have really, really just pathetic, sad little pockets. My pockets, I can fit a full-size pair of scissors in and forget they're there because I can't feel them. Because I wear guys' pants. Because they have great pockets. And they look just fine. Nobody ever says anything because I'm just wearing pants. They look like normal pants. And yet, if a guy walks down the street wearing a dress, people notice. So I know this is a little bit heavy and not super pleasant, but there are two little things I would like you to do. Both of these are in the Google Classroom, 2 worksheets, and they're about these vocabulary words. Biological sex is physically, what parts do you have? Gender expression, how do you show your gender identity to the world? How do you show how you feel about yourself? Gender identity, in your head, how do you see yourself? As a boy, as a girl, somewhere in between. Sexual orientation is who someone is attracted to, straight or gay or bi or asexual, where they're not attracted to anyone. Stereotypes is judgments you make based on things about other people. Gender policing is trying to tell people what they should and shouldn't do based on how you see them. This little person right here is the genderbread person. What you are going to do on this is you are going to take these 4 words, biological sex, gender expression, gender identity, and sexual orientation, and you're going to see if you can figure out where they fit in here. So if you see this one right here is woman, man, and gender queer. Gender queer is when somebody doesn't really see themselves all the way as one or the other. They feel like they're somewhere in the middle. Maybe they go back and forth. Maybe some days they feel like a man. Maybe some days they feel like a woman. You're going to figure out which of these words fits here. And in the assignment, you'll be able to click on this, you'll be able to click on this blue box and type in it. This one over here, heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual. So this right here, you're going to figure out which of these fits in this box. This one is feminine, masculine, and androgynous. Androgynous is a word for someone who has traits that are both feminine and masculine. So you're going to see which of these words fits. And if you need to Google because you don't know what words mean, feel free. And this one is female, male, and intersex. Intersex is a very interesting thing. It's not incredibly common, but it is a thing that happens. And intersex is when somebody has both male and female parts. And it's a really cool thing that happens with genetics sometimes, but there are people who are born with both male and female body parts. And that's intersex. Intersex meaning between 2 sexes. This other worksheet is kind of the opposite. You're going to take the word and you're going to match to the definition. So biological sex, gender identity, gender expression, and sexual orientation, you're going to match them to what they mean. And then at the bottom, it asks you to pick one of these 4 and think about 2 examples you've seen in the media, like maybe your favorite show or movie, or in the world around you. And again, you click on the blue boxes and you can type in them. This assignment is in Google Classroom. At the end right here, you can pause this video and see I have all of the vocabulary words in one place if you need to check on that. Again, if you have questions, I'm always watching and waiting for comments in Google Classroom. You can email me or you can come to the Zoom meetings. The Zoom meetings are Monday and Wednesday at 11 and 1 o'clock. People are still having trouble remembering when my Zooms are. It's Monday, Wednesday, 11 and 1 o'clock. I hope to see some of you in Zoom. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a comment or come in Zoom and ask. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.